I'm Erica, and that's Cody, and we
That's
are unarticulate. We are unarticulate podcast. We'll never get this intro down. It's fine. Um, and what do? We talk a lot. We are two friends that have been friends for like 3 years, 4 years now,
yeah.
and yeah, we have a time, and then we invite you to have a time with us, and we hope you're having a time. Shout out to the 11 that have been like steady this entire time.
I can't wait till we are super famous, and even though that'll never happen, and we just always talk about the 11, and
The
people are just like,
11.
"What are they talking about?" And it's like, "Oh, uh, the really bad spin off of the 100, you know, it's the 11." But and it'll just make no sense to anybody.
Yes. So yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. How are you? Kick us off.
Good. Well, I was gonna say, if you notice from those who were here last week, I am outside again, still trying to find good lighting in my mom's house. So this is where it is. You're gonna hear the birds. You're gonna hear the dogs. You're gonna hear, and I don't want to put those two. Now that I'm saying that, I don't want to put those two together. We don't have birds. We have dogs. These are both not outdoor things that are not ours in the wilderness. We own the dogs, right? Ugh. But I hear the birds. I hear the feedback of the birds coming through. So I'm so sorry. They're just trying to sing along to my voice, I guess.
They got things to say.
We
They
are
want to be
not.
a part of this.
No. Get out of here, birds. You dumb birds. I hate
Ugh,
birds.
you dumb birds.
Nice. You dumb birds. So what's up with me? I don't know. I feel like that's always the answer, right? Well, first, I feel like this is now the fourth time I've had different hair since this podcast started. But
I
we got a
would agree.
haircut, and it is short. It officially is. Um, it's to the point where I now have no more uh, dyed hair. So now it's all,
Mhm.
as they call in the cosmetology world, virgin hair. So it is now. It's time for me to include platinum blonde into my hot girl summer soon.
Going platinum.
I know. I miss it. I think it looked good. I just also wish my hair was a lot longer than it is right now because I don't like short hair on
Yeah, because
myself.
you quaff well. Like
Thank you. That's
you
the
quaff.
nicest compliment I've heard in a very long time.
Yeah, you quaff well. You quaff well. I think when I first met you, it might have been at its longest. And
The
then from that
longest,
point on,
yeah.
you just kept cutting it shorter.
Well, the longest it was the long. Yes, I was like, is that grammatically correct? The
The
longest
longest
it
it
was at
was.
one point was actually when I had the man bun, the little itty bitty.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah, that was like
That was
last
like,
year though.
are you sure?
Yeah, I have all the photos for it.
Yeah, don't show me. You're gonna have to put it on Instagram because
I
we gotta
know.
keep up the fact that we've been really good at Instagram.
Have we? I think you have.
You posted last week
I did a
in a
great job. Thank you.
celebration.
You know,
we're,
I am
we're
great.
getting there. We're moving up in the world.
It literally went me having man bun to cutting off the man bun and going platinum. Like there was no in between.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
You also
But
had
that was
like a
probably the
tiny
longest.
little, but you had a tiny little bun when I knew you, like when I
Oh.
first met you.
Okay.
Because you were like,
First.
"Oh, I can put my hair up like this," and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it," which
Listen.
sounds about right.
I miss the yo. Did I ever show you? I'm gonna have to put this up on Instagram as well. Did I ever show you the first time that I bleached my hair for the platinum blonde? It came out. Uh,
Wasn't it like patchy and
it looked like this. Oh, I don't. That shows a lot
yes,
better on camera.
yes,
It is basically orange. And I was like, I could rock this for a day while my hair calms down.
I
It
remember
doesn't work
this.
like that. It doesn't work like that. So yeah, update. Hair is cut. What else? I read an entire book.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I was struggling that I wasn't reading a lot as compared to like what I usually like to read or how much I was reading back in like 2020, 2019. Um, so I read And Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell, I think is her name. And it's one of those, like I was gonna say murder mystery, but I think it's more like suspense drama murder mystery question mark. As a synopsis, it's basically this woman, her daughter disappeared 10 years ago, and then it's now 10 years later, and she meets a guy, and the guy's daughter looks eerily similar, if not exactly like his or her daughter that disappeared 10 years ago. So they're like, "What?" And it was very good.
Suspicious.
Well, it
Okay.
couldn't. Well, to give you context, it couldn't have been her because she was 15 when she disappeared. So, like, his 9-year-old daughter could
Oh,
not have
okay.
been right,
Okay.
right. But she's just like, "What the hell is this?" And then it was okay. It
In
did all
my
right.
head, I was like, so she got older. So
And
did
younger.
he kidnap her? But no, she just traveled back in time.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So it was very much written in reality where it could be real until she traveled back in time and was 9 years old. You're right. You're right.
Dope. Dope. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad
Mm-hmm.
that we are on the same page.
Right. No, this is very much a mom by the beach type of book, and I'm not
Mm.
mad at it. I will say my genres of books tend to fall in things that uh, I don't, not that I shouldn't be reading. I don't want to say that. It's just things that I wouldn't think that I would be reading. But I very much enjoy, like young adult fiction and, uh, I guess moms by the beach books. Unless it's like the
Well,
weird sex stuff. Like I'm not trying to do 50. Okay. So A, I'm not trying to do 50 Shades, but my sister found a whole bunch of books that are 50 Shades oriented, but it's actually all of the like famous Disney titles because they're all the places that Disney, like got created their movies from are under common licensing or whatever it's called, that is for common use or whatever. So this woman is writing 50 Shades styles of like the Beauty and the Beast and the Little Mermaid and stuff like that, and my sister's like freaking out.
I feel like I stumbled into not, I don't know that it's necessarily 50 Shades esque. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's a little bit more tame. But I'm reading A Touch of Darkness by, I think it's Stephanie St. Clair. Um,
Okay.
and it's like young adult smut, which is fine because it's definitely a change from what I was reading because I
Yeah.
read Ninth House and then um Addie LaRue, and those are both like fantasy world meets like this weird thought process of like deeper dives into things
Yeah.
meets like really complex characters. And not saying that like this book doesn't have complex characters, but it's about Persephone and Hades. Um,
Right.
so they're Greek gods, so they're complex, but like it's definitely it's a change in direction of what I'm reading. I don't hate it. I
Yeah.
don't hate it so far. I was surprised by it initially, and then I was like, you know what? Let's go along for the ride. And then I read it, and I'm like, all right. So I'm almost halfway through it, which is fine.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but I feel like you and I feel like together we have a very eclectic grouping of not eclectic. I shouldn't say eclectic, but I feel like we have a vast grouping of interests where like we can kind of be sat down with anything and be like, huh, all right, that wasn't bad, not terrible. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll watch something in the same like sphere. Maybe I won't. Um, because so I will talk about this in a second, but like when I went to NYC this weekend with a friend, at one point in time on the train, I started reading Jujutsu Kaisen on manga, like their
Oh,
manga
okay.
online. So, and manga also reads totally different than just like books in general because it's manga. So, yeah, that's my rant about that. Keep going. Tell me more about things. Your mom books.
My mom books. Uh, well, there's nothing else really to say. I do have one more. that I just read like 2 pages of, and then I said I'm gonna go on YouTube. And which one's that one? All the Missing Girls by Megan someone.
Not all the girls missing.
No, all the boys are in the yard. My milkshake. Oh God. What's happening? How did we get here? Yeah. So, I'm excited to see. I will say so. I don't know why I'm going on all these tangents, but the whole reason I bought these books is because all of my books are packaged away in my mom's garage. So for me to get to the books that
Oh,
I purchased, you know what I mean? I have to like take all these things away, open the box, reseal the box, blah blah blah. So I currently have an available library of 2 books, and I already read one of them, so I have to read the other. And then it's like, what do I do now? Do I go into that collection and get the books that I want to read, or do I just go and buy more books? Because we all know that's what all self librarians like, is their own books
yes.
and
That is
more of
so
them.
true. Yeah, that's so true. You could you could reenact the end scene from the great movie Seven with Brad Pitt and just scream, "What's in the box?"
Oh, true. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I do know that scene because Vine.
Yes. What's
It's
in
pretty.
the box?
Is there anything else significant? We have a pool at my mom's house, so I've been swimming a lot, which I miss swimming. I used to do competitive swimming in high school, and so it's kind of nice to get back into that. I haven't taken a vacation in 2 years. Like, I worked all summer because COVID last year. So to be off this week, even though it's not by choice, to be off this week was kind of different. And I'm yeah, it's weird to be like relaxed and doing my own thing and not thinking like, what do I need to do today for work to not be fired? So,
What a beautiful time.
yeah.
It's beautiful in
Which
the sense of like self-care.
yeah. Ooh, I went strawberry picking, and we picked I think 7 pounds of strawberries. And
Yeah.
so we were doing a lot of freezing and cleaning, and over the past, oh, when did we go? I think we went 4 or 5 days ago, and so every day I've had strawberry in at least 2 of the 3 meals in the day. Um, and so I
Beautiful.
feel like I'm gonna turn into Violet from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and just start turning into a strawberry, and
You're
then they're
just
just gonna juice me
oh
as
no.
a strawberry. Okay, listen,
No.
stop it, stop it,
No.
stop it. Oh, so now you want me to stop because something could be moderately sexual, but when I said my milkshake, everything's fine.
Because it was part of a song. You were making fun of me.
Yes, I was. So
Yeah.
what's up with you?
What?
What's up with you? Red glasses? I've never
Oh,
seen these red glasses before.
these are my blue light blocking glasses because I woke up this morning and my brain chose violence and was like, "You might get a migraine today," and I was like, "Oh, okay." Uh, so, what did? Oh, to kind of go along with your story, like about juicing and canning things. I didn't juice corn, but Becca, we've talked about Becca. We wish Becca a happy birthday. Becca, who's my best friend, who I'm actually in a week. So, sidebar, everyone, listeners, we will probably not have an episode out next week because I will be on vacation
And Hot Girl Summer, I need to do something.
and hot girl summer.
I'm gonna sit
Uh,
at home.
she just appear at the Mothman statue with us.
Mothman.
um,
I'll
but so
go. I don't know. What else am I doing? Come pick me up.
drive through Lewis. If you can meet us at Lewistown.
Have
However,
fun.
however, we're gonna have to figure out sleeping arrangements because we literally have a Airbnb that has 1 bedroom and then like an open living room area where we were like, one of us will sleep on an air mattress. It's fine.
So no.
So
So no.
unless you want to platonically spoon.
We can platonic. That's where we could do our live podcasting from an Airbnb bedroom.
Bedroom. We should before we
And Becca
finish.
could be our guest.
And Becca could be our guest. Ah, that would be beautiful.
We should do that.
We should do that.
My
We
car
should
needs to.
figure out how to do that. Yes, because we should at
Anyway,
least before we wrap up this season try to have one in person.
yes, yes.
We'll see what that looks like. Um, but yeah, so Becca and her family would get a bunch of corn because corn is pretty cheap in PA because you just get it at farmers markets and would shuck corn and then like they have this it's not a guillotine but it's like a it dekernels the corn
Just start beheading corn, just Game of Thrones style.
off with her head.
Um, that's
Yeah,
that's Alice in Wonderland, but that's
that is
okay.
Alice in Wonderland. Tell Cersei it was me. Um
So
anyway,
sad.
but we used to do corn over the summer and that is just a fond memory that I have of us sitting outside of her house and just going through tons and tons and tons of corn. Um, but yeah, so what's up with me? What have I? Oh, NYC. I went to New York City for the first time in my entire adult life, in my entire life in general. I am almost 30 years old and I've never been to New York City. And I've lived remotely near New York City my entire life, except for when I lived in Texas, obviously, because that's how states work.
Listen,
Um,
I think you haven't been close. You nope. Nope. The joke's gone. Continue.
yep,
Yep.
okay. Um, so I went to New York City. I was very graciously offered tickets to see the um, the botanical gardens because there was. I have my sweaty map right here. Um, my
Where do
sweaty
you
map.
find sweaty maps?
It was so hot. So I will tell you the sweaty map story. Um, so it was the Kasuma or Kasama. Kasama is an artist, and they had a bunch of different art installations in the gardens. So it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. Um, I went with one of my friends here, and he has lived in New Brunswick his entire life. And he is also almost 30, so he's been to New York City a few times. Um, so he, as he said, he was like, "I am your New York City Sherpa," and so we went and adventured.
What gardens?
hmm So, um, so yeah, the botanical gardens were really cool. We spent probably like 3 hours in there, and at one point in time, because it was so hot, we literally laid in the grass and were just like, "Oh my god, what is this?" So, sweaty map comes from when we got in there. I was given a map and he wasn't, and he was like, "Oh, did you grab two maps?" I was like, "No, get your own sweaty map." Because at that point in time, because of how hot it was, I had already left like a sweaty handprint. Uh,
Yeah, I just got that notification too. I just keep going because it seems like
okay,
it's recording.
all right. So I left a. Sorry, everybody. Weird technical things are happening. So I had already left like a sweaty handprint on the map, so
Uh,
that's how it became sweaty map. And then at one point in time, no, it never lived in my pocket, so I was just carrying it around, being a sweaty person with my sweaty map. So that was a lot of fun. And then after that, so the botanical gardens are in the Bronx. And then after that, we went to Manhattan and we're in Greenwich Village
okay.
or Greenwich, like around that area. Got to see Stonewall, which was really cool. They had some performers out for Pride. Um, had some great seafood, and then went to a place called Big Gay Ice Cream, and it was adorable and lovely and made me so happy. And
Is
then
what's that? Is Stonewall, is that a bar?
so Stonewall is like the actual place, and then it's a bar and inn is what they
Okay,
made it into. Yeah.
got it. Yeah, I was in that bar before. We did
Were
a
you?
yeah, Penn State. When I worked there, there was a pride based um New York trip of Greenwich Village, and it was all about like seeing a lot of like historical LGBTQ related stuff. And so I chaperoned that trip with my one coworker, and so I drink a drink in that bar that was apparently like the signature drink that I can't think of, but it
Good.
was a cool trip.
Good. That's
Yes.
awesome. Yeah. It's a neat little place, and it's like it felt tucked away. Um yeah, it was cool. I don't know that I love New York City,
Hmm.
but I definitely appreciated it for what it was and don't have such an aversion to going now.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would go like if somebody was like, "We could go here in New York City," I'd probably be like, "Let's go to this other place." so so yeah, it was a good time.
So New York,
And
we're not sold, but we're here for it.
yeah,
Got it. I,
so it's definitely a time. I think it like I will say I will um give Bill is my friend, Bill credit of him being like, you have to experience it at least once. Um, and all the times I had experienced it had been driving through it before, and I was like, I hate this place.
yeah.
so, so yeah, I think that was good. But and that's it. That was it. It was a sweaty weekend, and then I didn't have power in my apartment yesterday, and I'm still a little salty about that. But y'all don't need to hear me rant. It just got really hot in my house, and my
Yeah.
sweet baby bean, or little furry ass, was just so hot.
Aw. Yeah, I'm
So
sorry that you had to deal with the heat. I am one of those people that when I breathe, I sweat. Like I'm that sensitive to heat that I'm just like, I'm probably sweating right now. Well, it is hot outside and humid. And I'm considering whether I have to think about whether or not I put deodorant on this morning. So awkward.
I'm
Oops.
just perpetually sweaty. Like I'm a
Yes.
sweaty monster. That is the joke that I
I'm
make.
always in the famous words of John Mulaney. I'm always a little moist, wet,
Yes,
moist,
damp,
wet,
a little damp,
damp, damp.
a
All
little
three
damp.
at the same time. I'm all three words.
Yes.
I'm a
So
little
yeah,
damp all of the time.
we love to see it. You could have a sweaty map then your entire life, a sweaty
I
map,
feel like it's just sweaty ass at this point.
sweaty ass.
Yep, just swamping all around.
Yes, I the worst thing I think ever is being sweaty in jeans. Who wants to be sweaty in jeans? It is disgusting. Because then they just stick to you and you're like and then they're heavier so you're hotter and you're just sweating more and then when you try to peel them off your body it just is like this pile and pool of sweat infused with your denim. It's
Yeah,
terrible.
who would want to be sweaty in jeans?
Who wants to be sweaty in jeans? Who chooses that type of violence?
I,
Anyway, that's my
I
rant
love that.
today.
I'm here for this rant.
So who wants to be sweaty in jeans? So
Okay,
yeah, so that's me. So what about you?
all right.
We
Back.
already talked
No,
about you. What
yeah.
are what are
Let's
we
get
doing?
into it. All right. So first of all, our UD word of the day,
Yes.
our
Oh my
Urban Dictionary
gosh.
word, is cheesecake, and it's used to
Like
describe generally female imagery that's suggestive, but in a PG-13 sense rather than an R or above sense.
so like all of Disney.
What? What?
So like all of Disney, like all of Disney would be this.
Sh- So the definition or the sentence that they have here is, I didn't have any porn saved on my phone, so I fapped to some cheesecake instead. So I would say like a wet t-shirt that doesn't show anything but is still a wet t-shirt.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, because the reason I said Disney was because they like their PG movies have so many innuendos in them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this is saying innuendo as compared to like,
Have you seen how those princesses dress?
yeah. Like I would
All of
say
their body types are the same.
some of them have bigger heads, okay?
So
Some
bigger
of them have
heads.
bigger eyes, okay?
All right, fine. I'll give
But you're
you
right.
the
You're
bigger
right. I guess
eyes.
neck down situation, they are all very similar. Sure. Let's go for
Like
it.
if you just lopped off their heads and then put like shifted bodies around, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. Whose body belongs to who? I don't know.
That's not my job. Uh,
Anyway,
okay.
not,
So
not
I
me out here coming for Disney.
so one of the things that I've been experiencing as being the slacky of my mothers now and my stepfathers is that I am doing a lot of dog related things like cleaning up after dogs, walking dogs, talking to dogs, being a dog. You know, all the
I
dog
I
related
am
things.
Doge.
I am dog. Thank you. And so we as in me, I've been noticing a lot of behaviors that like we've had dogs my entire life and we've never formally trained said dogs. Um and we've never, not that we've never had to, it's just I guess our dogs in the past have adapted to what we have wanted out of said dog in behavior, right? um
Mhm.
and so now that I've been away from family for so long as an adult and now coming back, there's some things that I'm like, dog training, that's kind of important. Like, why haven't you trained your dogs to not be stupid and violent? So uh, I know that you've had dogs, right? And you are
Yes.
personally a dog trainer of your own to train your Stormy girl. So I just wanted to talk about, oddly enough, dog training and all about that. I know, right? How arbitrary. And
Okay.
so when I would walk, so Luna, she's a black German Shepherd. She's really cute, but she's very spiteful. Um, and I don't know if that's a dog behavior that's trainable or not. I'm sure it is trainable, but like she's very spiteful in the way that she knows that if the door opens, that probably means that someone's going in a car, and so she'll dart out the door so that she could go in the car because she's been trained that she can ride along, and she hasn't been trained on like an appropriate word like, I don't know, ride, I don't know, some type of word that would trigger in her brain, okay, that means I'm going with, as compared to every time the door opens, it's an opportunity for me to go for a ride. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, so there's that. Like she pulls when we go on walks, and so I've been trying to train her with treats and stuff. So positive reinforcement, right? Trying to train her to like walk with me, that she's alongside. That way she's not pulling. So why don't you, before we get into like myths and truths about dog training and stuff, why don't you tell me about your experience with training your dog? Because you also are in a unique situation from my understanding.
Oh. So I adopted Storm at 8 months old. And it was very spur of the moment. Was ready for a dog, but was also just like, all right, let's do this. So when I adopted her, I initially went to the shelter to get another dog, and they were like, you can't have this dog because you have a tiny apartment. And I said, okay, that makes sense. Uh,
Not
and they were
allowed.
like, yeah, and they were like, let me show you other dogs. And when I found her, she had a little cone on her head, and she looked so cute, and we became buddies in that moment. And I was like, this is my dog. And then they were like, okay, so you're gonna pick her up tomorrow, right? And I said, can I wait until RA training is done? Because anybody who's been through RA training knows that it is hell. It is hell on earth. and you don't have time to be a dog parent. Um, so they were like, no, you can't wait. So I brought my dog home 2 days before RA training started. And when I brought her home, she had managed to have all of the zoomies come out at once to the point where she jumped over one of my friends while he was sitting on the ground, like cleared his head. Um, so that was impressive. That's when I knew that she was a track star. And
Yes.
then um, the next day or that night, I discovered that she had been peeing in my house, in my spare room. So that was fun. So then I was like, all right, we can fix this. Like, we can set her up for opportunities. So we went to bed. Crate training was a nightmare because the entire night she just whined.
Oh,
People don't talk. People are like, oh, dogs, cute, fun, and nice. People don't talk about the hell that you go through as being a first time owner of everything getting adjusted. And like the shit things that happen, literal shit things that happen with your dog.
we're talking poop
Um,
now.
we're talking poop. We talk about poop way too much on this podcast.
Do we?
Um, we do.
Well, that's shitty.
That is a shitty kitty.
Oh my god.
But so yeah, so the next day I got up and Storm and I went on an hour long walk. And you want to know what that dog didn't do? She didn't pee until the very end. And then we got inside and she pissed and shit in my kitchen and I was so mad. So then that's when I discovered that she wasn't really potty trained. She didn't know her name. She didn't know how to sit. Like nobody trained her. Her previous owners didn't train her. No developmental things happened. So we started from scratch. So I had a time in the beginning with my dog to where I'm pretty sure that I either called one of my coworkers here, Courtney, or my parents at least 3 times a day to be like, I hate my dog. I'm not a good dog. It was, I hate my dog. I'm not a good dog parent. I think I need to take her back because she needs a better life. I can't do this, etc., etc. I love my dog with my whole heart and soul, but it took us, we had a very interesting growing period. And then when I could just leave her out of her crate during the day, that was 10 million times better. But yes, the funny comedic stories of dog training with Storm was that in teaching her to pee outside. I had gone. She had fell asleep and then woke up from a nap and was getting a drink and like gnawing on her food a little bit. So I was like, this is my chance. I can pee quick and then I'll take her outside. I peed and she followed me into the bathroom and was like, "You're peeing? I'm gonna pee," and squatted on the bathroom floor and peed in my bathroom with me.
I can't.
And I couldn't like in that moment I was like, I can't be mad at you because I understand.
Uh,
so so yeah, having a dog is not as glamorous as people make it out to be all the time. They are buddies. Like it's very exciting to come home from work and have her be the most excited to see me. It's also really hard to do it when it's just you because dogs are a little bit different than cats. Where cats you can kind of let go and they'll just do their thing. Dogs, if you let them go, they're gonna get bored. Like huskies, as a
yes.
breed, need stimulation or else they'll be destructive. So I get when you said Luna is a little bit,
She's a little
a
destructive.
little,
Spiteful. Spiteful is the
a
word I use.
little spiteful. I remember over the summer last year when we had all the dogs here and they played in the little dog park area, which I call like that's what I called the lounge because we didn't have students here, and it was cooler in the lounge than it was outside. And I was like, we can't have dogs having heat stroke.
Yeah.
Um, she would want to leave with all of the dogs. So I put her in my apartment, and when I came inside of my apartment, there was the biggest pee spot on my couch. And at that point in time, she had no accidents for like 4 months. No
Yeah.
accidents. And I was like, you little bitch.
Oh my gosh. I will say that's something that uh, I don't under yeah, I don't understand necessarily like why they make these decisions. And I don't know, whatever. But one thing I find very funny is Luna loves, I don't know if it's like smelly clothes, even clean clothes, I guess. But she'll specifically like chew on like my stepdad's shirts, his socks, his underwear, his whatever. My mom, she'll eat up her shoes. She'll just carry them around, and she does it so like she's so cute. When I walk out of the guest room in my mom's house, there she is. She runs up the steps. She has something in her mouth, and she's so excited. And I'm like, you shouldn't have that in your mouth. What?
Yeah. So
So
I think like so to those things, dogs will always like smelly things. Storm has literally rolled on dead animals, like it's fine. And you don't know it until you get close to them and realize that they're rolling on a dead animal, around or near the dead animal. That you're like, oh,
yeah.
oh. She's also tried to roll in poop. They
Hmm.
just like smelly stuff. They like smelly spots, and they like to roll their bodies in them because they're just menaces. Dogs are menaces. They're the most adorable menace you will ever own in your entire life, but they are menaces. Um, but as far as like training stuff goes, I got her because she's a super chewer. So when she had all of her toys, when like I first got her, she would just shred through them in an hour. Stuffing would be everywhere, like limbs would be missing. She would just shred through toys. She doesn't do it as much now, which is great. But I also get her like Nyla bones, um, or like bones that have like the peanut butter filling in them. So it's like
Yeah.
something to keep them occupied. There's also toys that you can get that like they have to like sniff for the toy or sniff for the snack and like move like
Right.
pegs and
Right.
stuff around to get to it. Um, but it was a lot of like trying to figure out how to stimulate her and then like also like what drives them in play. So like Storm likes to tug. She likes to tug. She likes to play keep away. She has specific balls that she likes to chase. And yeah, as far as like walking stuff and getting them not to pull, I still haven't figured out how to not get her to pull, but she's a lot
Yeah.
better about it now.
Yeah.
Um, we would with like bathroom training and all of that. I'm specifically not saying the P word because every time I mention it, she looks up at me and I'm like, we're not going outside. It's not time. But the shelter that I adopted her from were like take things that aren't like that don't have dog in the name and like give them that as rewards when you go out and walk. So
Sure.
I've worked with her because huskies are known to be kind of bolters. So we've been working on a lot of like with me, like the command with me, where
Right.
she stays with me and I take like cheese or like a piece of a hot dog and I'll put it in my hand and I'll have her walk with me. I do a lot of like stay and then come. So like when you have them sit and stay, don't give them the treat, make sure they're paying attention, and then you like slowly do increments of walking further and further away from them and then say come and when like and get really excited about it. So when they come to you, you give them the treat and it's like, "Oh, like I did a good job. These were the good things that I did."
Yeah.
Um I have Storm stop at crosswalks, and I've only done that because my parents used to do that with our family dog, who is also a husky, because they wanted to make sure that, like, they wanted to kind of reinforce that when he got to the road, that he was going to take a second to be like, oh, I'm supposed to stop here
Yeah.
before darting across the street. So I do that with her. So in order to do that, like it was also hot dogs of like, all right, stop, sit, here's a hot dog, wait, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
It was funny at one point in time because she would like to dally, like dilly dally across the side, like across the street, and I was like, walk, 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 walk.
Ugh.
So
Yeah. I
it's
don't.
just,
I wish I had some of that training like in the past. We just that was I don't know if it came naturally or it was trained outside of my wheelhouse. But
mhm.
I will say I have here some facts and myths about dogs and dog training and behaviors that I was going to share.
Yes.
And this is from the Dog Father website that's from the United Kingdom. Um,
The dog father.
so here's some things, right? So
I'm ready.
a
My body's
wagging
ready.
tail doesn't mean that they're happy.
Not always.
It might mean that they're happy, but it might not. So a slow wagging tail combined with stiff low posture can be a sign of a dog deciding whether to attack. Another dog would read the body language correctly, but not many people would. Um, and then what else? So sitting down is actually not normal for dogs. So, if you
Oh,
think
really?
about wild dogs, they rarely sit, or like if you think of wolves, they're either in motion, standing, or lying down, and dogs are just the same in this respect. So, until people teach them to sit, they actually don't know how to sit. Um, and so, you have to kind of teach them what sitting means. Uh, your dog
Which
is
makes
actually
sense.
more dangerous than a great white shark. So, every year in the USA, more people are killed by dogs than have been killed in the by sharks in the last century, which is
Dope.
interesting. Okay,
Good.
so here are some myths, and hopefully you know some of these. This one I found interesting because I never thought of it as a myth. They say tug of war is to be avoided, which I never. I figured that's just playtime. So if you use tug of war to teach them to release a toy on command, you'll have more control, not less. So done properly, tug of war can actually help improve dog behavior.
Tug of
Which
war is like I've never heard that myth before. Tug of war is one of the best things to do because it also gets energy out. So like if
right.
you are stuck inside, playing tug with your dog is going to be the best, most efficient way to do stuff.
Yeah, yeah, they said the biggest part of it is that the worry is of turning the dog into an aggressive monster is the word they use here. So they say as long as you have control and have rules in the game, that's actually it'll help improve dog behavior. Um, what else is here? This one I found interesting. So, a human year is equivalent to 7 dog years is not true. It's too simple a formula because most larger breeds only have half as long of a life as compared to like terriers and smaller crossbreeds. So, a 5-year-old Rottweiler may halfway be through his life, whereas a Jack Russell at the same age would be relatively younger. So, development in the first few months follows a similar pattern for most breeds, though. So, you might consider most dogs of 9 months to be a year, or so teenagers, for example. One thing that I read before is that because of the sexual reproduction of dogs and like the timeline they have, this doctor, or I guess veterinarian, but doctor recommended that you actually look at it as 12, 12, and 6 thereafter. So it's they're when they turn one, they're 12 years old in human years because they can produce puppies. So like the average human goes through puberty around 12. Um,
Hmm.
and then I don't know why they decided 12 again, but I don't know if that's just so it evens out across the lifespan to be 7.
I
I don't know.
I don't yeah, I don't know. So I've seen tons of different charts where one was like the first breakdown is like 9 and then at year 2 it's like 8 and then after that it's like 7 for 2
Yeah,
years and then 5.
it's all arbitrary.
Yeah. Your dog just ages different and that's okay.
Yeah. And then the final one I have here is about the myth is there are no bad dogs, only bad owners. And so what they suggest here is um it's so not bad dogs perhaps because it's not the dog's fault as such, but the truth is many dogs are born with natural instincts that we as humans find distasteful, some more than other breeds. So dog behavior comes from genetics or breeding as well as training. So take the example of a couple who've had a dog since she was a puppy, and despite their best efforts, she's aggressive to other dogs. Understandably, it embarrasses and distresses them. Is she a bad dog? Are they bad owners? So, certainly not on both counts. Incidentally, it can be controlled with expert help, is the sort of thing that this person who wrote this article is able to help in training with one-on-one dog time. So that's interesting. Um, but yeah, a lot. I guess that kind of, if you think about it, that kind of lands into parenting as well. It's the conversation of, you know, like is did I teach my child this, or is my child instinctually doing this, or is this a nature versus nurture conversation?
See, nature versus nurture just like makes sense to me because they're going to naturally do things, but then like through rearing, like through child rearing, and now just talking about children, you can direct them or like give them the best groundwork to be successful. That doesn't always mean that they're going to be successful.
Right.
And like what is success depending on how you define it. Like when I first took Storm, I've tried to really get her to like interact and be social with other dogs and other people because I live in a residence hall.
Hmm.
And that's important. Like I can't have her just attacking things on a college campus.
Yes.
And so I took her to it's Asbury Park. They have an event called the Asbury Park Bazaar around Valentine's Day, and I took her down to that with Becca and Courtney. And when we first got there, because she's a husky and she wants to pull, so we were like all over the boardwalk, swaying back and forth, just
Yeah.
pulling. And this pair of, I think it was just two women, walked by and like scoffed and were like, she needs to control her dog better. And like that to me, I felt embarrassed. I felt embarrassed. I
Yeah.
felt frustrated because I was like, I've made a lot of progress with her. Um, and then like I had to sit and think with it. And I said something to Courtney, and Courtney was like, Erica, you're doing fine. Like, she's not doing anything outlandish. She's being a dog.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're right. She's doing what, like, don't come to a boardwalk or pier that's dog friendly and not expect to see dogs trying to sniff things or not expect to see dogs doing et cetera, et cetera. People get confused because I think people think that because she's bigger, like when I got her, she was fully grown.
Yeah.
Um, but
And
she's
fluffy.
a baby.
Very
Yeah,
fluffy.
she's so fluffy. But she's a baby, and she's the cutest little baby in the entire world. But she's a baby. She's only 2.
Yeah.
So like I think for people they expect like, oh, your dog's an adult, it should be trained better. She's trained fine, but she's also a baby. She's gonna have moments where she's just kind of silly, where she loses her damn mind, and that's okay.
Yeah. And even as they get older, like she's still allowed to have those behaviors. I mean, she's still
Huskies
a
are like,
dog.
yeah, huskies are nuts, and they will be nuts for their entire life.
They're lifelong children.
They are.
They are.
So I would say with like Luna, oh, a thing that was recommended to me that I just haven't done with Storm because
Mhm.
when I would have done it, it was way too hot for her to be carrying around a backpack. But to like help with pulling because dogs want things to do, like they work, like dogs work. So you could try to get like a weighted vest or like a backpack for
Okay.
Luna to try to help with that pulling.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Uh.
Dogs need a purpose. Like that's at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we think they're like, oh, they're cute and cuddly and fun. They also need a purpose. They need to know what their purpose is. They need to know what their fulfillment is outside of being a cuddly, cute, furry thing. And they don't think like us. Like you can't approach a situation where you yelled at your dog and then be like, oh, she's gonna hate me forever. Like some dogs respond that way, but a lot of the time they just want to make you happy and they don't want you to be
Right.
stressed. And then on the flip side of that, like when you're stressed and like projecting, they pick up on that so much faster than like empaths do.
Right.
So they're gonna notice those things a little bit more. Like what again, when I first got her and she was so frustrating to me, I sat in my bedroom and cried, and she came and sat next to me and like husky cried next to me.
Aw.
I was like, oh, he's just like, you crazy animal.
Aw.
She's the best. All we should, um, we'll put that picture that you have of your blonde hair, and then I have a video of her barking at me in the bathroom. That's really
I
cute.
love. Yeah, I will say, and I know this was very dog heavy. We love cats here. I am more instinctually a cat person, and by
Equal
preference a cat
opportunity
person.
animals.
Right. This is this was just something that I'm experiencing right now. I was just considering. Um, Dogs are interesting. I will say too, I've always grown up with little dogs, so to transition into a big dog world is it's also severely different.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
like one might say I've had ankle biters. So like we currently have a chihuahua. I think he's 11, 12, 13. Oh, an age in there, right? And he's so old and he's so fragile and he's so tiny, but also in all that old fragile tininess, he he looks very like worn out and just exhausted. But then as soon as like my mom will come home, or if anyone, he's very territorial to my mom. Um, if anyone gets around here, he will turn into that young 2 to 3 year old dog that's like aggressive and just like get away. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I haven't experienced that with these bigger dogs. Not saying that other ones aren't like that, but in terms of territorialness, I've experienced a little bit more of that from a small dog comparatively. And also
Hmm.
Log. Log
Log
is
the
a different
dog.
type of dog. He's just a little
Log the.
sad thing.
He's really not that little though.
Little
He's
as
like
in
medium.
he's just like his demeanor is little.
He's uwu, if you
Yes.
will.
He takes up a physical massive space that of like a medium dog, but he is his presence is so tiny because he's a shelter dog that was abused, and he's just all sad, and he's called Log because he's, lazy like a log and doesn't move like a log, and he's so cute. He's the goodest of dogs. He's a good boy.
He is a good boy.
But he pulls too, and I'm just like, Log.
You can also, another thing with pulling, that I discovered is that, like, if you stop, like if you physically, like if they're pulling you and you physically stop, it causes them to stop, and then you,
Right.
like, if you start walking again and they're still pulling, you stop. Like
Right.
it's a slow process. Training a dog is very patient. Like, it takes a lot of patience.
Yep.
It's gonna wear down your nerves. You're gonna want to scream,
Yep.
because I wanted to scream every day
And
for
you did
almost a
scream.
year. And I did scream.
You
When she
did.
gave me a bloody lip, when she launched her furry ass body at my face and gave me a bloody lip,
Yeah.
I was so pissed. And I was out in public and I was walking by, and that's when we still had students on campus. And I was walking back to my apartment, and this car drove by, and they're like, "Oh, we like your dog." And I was like, "Great, do you want her?" As blood is running down my face, I looked insane.
Aw. I was gonna say, I think I'm very glad to be a cat dad because the patience is you need a lot less patience.
Yeah.
Good
And
for
like,
you.
don't get me wrong, I love my dog with my whole heart and soul. We just had a lot of growing pains, and like,
Yeah.
I think it's important to be real about like pet ownership, because every pet has their own individual quirk that comes with them.
Yeah. That's real. Well, I think that's a great place for us to call it. Look at us.
Beautiful.
I'm amazing. So if we see you next week, maybe it'll be a live one.
But if not, it'll be a pause.
I'm gonna be real. I'm so lazy
I'm so
that I
lazy.
don't know if I want to sit in a car for that long driving. Is
That's
that
fair.
rude? I
No.
keep it real. I keep it real.
We will, before, because we're gonna wrap up with 20 episodes for this first season.
Yeah.
Just to give Cody and I a chance to like get the creative juices flowing again, bring you new original content of unarticulation. Um, but we should try, because we're in a closer
Yeah.
range now where we could definitely do this.
Yes.
So
All right.
yeah,
Well, thank you all for listening to wherever you are listening to us. If you're over on Apple, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts, please feel free to leave us a review and a comment and why you like us, and give us those star ratings, because we are stars and you're a star. And there are
share with your
stars.
friends.
Yes. Yes. Tell all the friends, all the family, all the dogs, all the cats. I don't know if they count as listeners, but I'm here for it. They're not a part of the 11, but that's okay. And if you're watching us over on YouTube, there's a nice wave to you. And don't be afraid to like, subscribe, leave us a comment on what your dog does. Does your dog pull? Stupid dog. No, don't say that. That's mean.
And if you like living in sweaty jeans, get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here. Imagine swimming in jeans. That's a
Oh,
different Okay, all right. That's a great place for
uh,
us to leave you. All right, have a great week. We'll see you in a couple. Goodbye.
bye.